Okay, so our Old Testament reading is from Numbers chapter 21. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived near the Negev, heard that Israel was coming along the road to Atharim, he attacked Israel and captured some of them. Then Israel made a vow with the Lord, "If you will deliver these people into our hands, we will totally destroy their cities." The Lord listened to Israel's plea and gave the Canaanites over to them. They completely destroyed them and their towns, and so the place was called Hormah. They traveled from Mount Hor along the route of the Red Sea to go around Edom. But the people grew impatient on the way. They spoke against God and against Moses and said, "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the desert? There is no bread, there is no water, and we detest this miserable food." Then the Lord sent venomous snakes among them, and they bit the people, and many Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, "We sinned when we spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord, and he will take the snakes away from us." So Moses prayed for the people. The Lord said to Moses, "Make a snake and put it on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live." So Moses made a bronze snake and put it on the pole. Then, when anyone was bitten by the snake and looked at the bronze snake, he lived. The Israelites moved on and camped at Oboth. Then they set out from Oboth and camped at Ir Abraham, in the desert that faces Moab towards the sunrise. From there they moved and camped in the Zered Valley. They set out from there and camped alongside Arnon, which is in the desert extending from the Amorite territory. At Arnon the Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. That is why the book of war of the Lord says, "Waheb and Suphah and the ravines, and Arnon are the slopes of the ravines, and lead to the site of Ar, that lies along the border of Moab." From there they continued on to Beer, and the well where the Lord said to Moses, "Gather the people together, and I will give them water." Then the Israelites sang this song: "Spring up, O well, spring about it, about the well that the princes dug." The nobles of this people sank, the nobles with scepters and staffs. Then they went from the desert of Mattanah, from Mattanah to Nahaliel, from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley of Moab, where the top of the Pisgah overlooks the wasteland. The Israelites sent a messenger to say to Sihon, king of the Amorites, "Let us pass through your country. We will not turn aside into any fields or vineyards or drink water from any well. We will travel along the king's highway until we have passed through your territory." But Sihon would not let the Israelites pass through his territory. He mustered his entire army and marched out into the desert against the Israelites. When he reached Jahaz, he fought the Israelites. The Israelites, however, put him to the sword and looked over his land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, but only as far as the Amorites, because their border was fortified. Israel captured all the cities of the Amorites and occupied them, including Heshbon and all its surrounding settlements. Heshbon was the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and had taken from him all his lands as far as the Arnon. That is why the poets say, "Come to Heshbon, and let us rebuild it. Let Sihon's city be restored." Fire went out from Heshbon and blazed from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar and Moab, the citizens of Arnon's heights. Woe to you, O Moab! You are destroyed, O people of Chemosh. He has given up his sons as fugitives, and his daughters as captives, to Sihon, king of the Amorites. But we have overthrown them. Heshbon is destroyed, all the way to Dibon. We have demolished them as far as the Nophah, which extends to Medeba. So the Israelites settled in the land of the Amorites. After Moses sent spies to Jazer, the Israelites captured its surrounding settlements and drove out the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and went up along the road to Bashan, and Og, king of Bashan, and his whole army marched out to meet them in battle at Edrei. The Lord said to Moses, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have handed him over to you, and his whole army and his land. Do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon." So they struck him down, together with his sons and his whole army, leaving them no survivors, and they took possession of his land. So that was Numbers chapter 21.